because we see now in the elite runners at the end, it's like few minutes difference.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking as a beginner, as an amateur, as a like that when you come to the when I come to the A station, it's relaxed. I have time. It's fun. But I guess for you it's
Yeah,
a bit more stressful.
yeah, yeah. It's stressful when you're on your own, I'd say. But when you have your crew, like at Western States, for example, all I did was put my arms up. My crew would take my vest off, put a new one on, dump water on me, and my only goal was to go. My goal wasn't to eat anything there or like replenish. You can do that all while you're running. So as long as you're staying on top of your fueling while you're running, you shouldn't need to do anything at the aid stations necessarily other than swap out your pack, which should already have your nutrition in it. So it's really easy at a race like Western States. At a race like UTMB, it is a bit more stressful because it's like you get into that aid station, you probably get in with someone you've been battling with for a while, and you see them run out, and you're like, God, what do I have to do right now? Do I go follow him, or do I take my time and make sure I fill up my bottles? Um, I will say too, and no disrespect or anything, the aid stations at European races, in my experience, are a little bit like more chaotic than uh, in the States, where like I feel like you go in the States, the volunteers know exactly what you need and they just do everything for you. At UTMB, especially as like a foreigner, who maybe the volunteers don't speak English, it's harder to figure out what you are supposed to do, and you need to fill your own bottles, and it takes just a little bit more time and a little bit more patience. But you got to remember the nature of the race too. It's like no one, it, the climbs and the descents make for it easier, I think, to catch back up to people than a race like States where people are just kind of gunning it and there's like less opportunity to make up time. But you'll catch back up to that guy, and I need to like remind myself that personally. Um, I God, again, I've never had a good experience in Chamonix, so every time I do get to an aid station with my crew, I'm always sitting for a little bit, and I really want to get away from that. Like, my big goal is just to feel good in the back half and be able to compete in the back, 50K when you start hitting those three climbs from Champex Lac. I just want to be able to compete there, and um, every time I've gotten there recently, it's just been survival mode and just trying to get up and go to the next aid station and sit for a little bit. So yeah, I need to take care of myself getting there. And like, while I think the race starts at the very beginning at Western States, I don't think UTMB is quite there yet. And I think UTMB still requires a lot of patience. And you need to be feeling good at the very end there in order. And I don't know where the race starts. I haven't done it enough to really be able to say the knowledge or have the knowledge to say where the race starts there. But I think it still is kind of around that Champex Lock point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in somewhere in the middle. What nutrition do you use? How much carbs per hour? How much water? How much, okay, salt? Actually, how much, because you know how much you sweat per hour, and from which company you use, or it's mixed.
I use Never Second for my nutrition. I am affiliated with them. I love their products. I used them way before I started getting affiliated with them. I think the gels, like I they're a little bit more watery and liquidy, which helps with the gastric emptying. So I feel like I feel the energy from them a little bit quicker. Um, and I try to aim for 100 grams of carbs an hour. That is typically two gels for 60 grams of carbs, and then 40 grams of carbs through a drink mix. I try to put that drink mix solution just in one bottle, but I try to drink three bottles an hour for the most part, around 1,500 milliliters of fluid an hour. And the other two are just plain water. What that does, again, is just help with the gastric emptying if I just have more like water concentration for all the carbs that I'm putting in me. and ultimately it helps with stomach issues and just getting the carbs out of your stomach into your small intestine and out to your muscles quicker. So,
But how you do it when your vest has like for two flasks? Where do you
mhm.
carry the third flask?
Yeah, either in a belt or if I have room in my vest in the back, I'll put another one. So,
Uh-huh. Okay.
yeah, it's annoying for sure, but it's better than bonking. So.
Which shoes do you use for Western States and which one for CCC this year? Because there's a bit different terrain, like a lot of different terrain. Did you use the same shoes or different?
I was with North Face prior. The day of Western States, I was with the
Uh,
North Face, and I was running in the Vective Pro 2, Summit Pro 2. Um, I thought it was a great shoe for Western States. Yeah, I would pick up a pair of them. Um, Responsive foam, great carbon plate in it to keep it stiff. So great. Yeah, I had no issues with that. The day after Western States, my contract with North Face ended. I had a great relationship with them. I think just things, getting second at Western States opens the door for a lot of brands to chat with you. So I went through the doors and I talked to a lot of different brands, and I just felt like Hoka met me with where I was at the time. Now. So yeah, so I ended up going with Hoka. I ran into Tecton X 2.5 for CCC. Um, it is a extremely, extremely fast shoe. Like it is, the foam is extremely responsive. Um, Almost like too responsive in a way for those technical trails. I will say, don't go unbox a pair of Tecton X3s or something and then go try to race CCC or on the mountains. You need to practice with those shoes, probably a month of practice with them before you really get the hang of them descending, because they are like very fast and they are harder to just get the hang of after going from a normal shoe. So just give yourself some time to practice, but once you figure it out, it is an awesome shoe.